Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden layers of our world. We're going to see exactly how everyday people, just like you and me, accidentally stumbled upon some literally world-changing secrets. I mean, think about it. What actually happens when a dropped net, a wrong turn, or just a simple swing of a shovel completely rewrites human history? It's kind of fascinating, right? Some of the most profound revelations in history, biology, and geology didn't come from multi-million-dollar expeditions. Nope, they came from pure, unadulterated chance. So let's jump right in and look at how these totally accidental moments have shifted our understanding of the world. Section 1. Monsters and living fossils, myths that turned out to be real. We're starting our journey down in the deepest, most mysterious realm out there, beneath the ocean's surface. This is where mythical sea monsters and supposedly extinct creatures have shockingly been pulled right into reality. So, for centuries, sailors whispered these terrified stories of a massive beast dragging ships down to a watery grave. The mythical kraken, right? It was written off as just a Danish beach legend. Well, that is until a strange, rotting carcass washed up on a local beach. Some local guy kept its bizarre bird-like beak as a souvenir. Fast forward a bit, and a scientist named Geppettus Steenstrup examined it and realized, hey, this belongs to a massive squid. The debate raged on until 1873, when some fishermen in Newfoundland literally had to battle a live creature. They hacked off a 19-foot tentacle. A month later, an entire giant squid was hauled up in a fishing net. Just like that, the myth was suddenly and terrifyingly very real.
And it doesn't stop there. In 1938, a museum curator named Marjorie Courtney Latimer made what people still call the zoological find of the century. She would routinely dig through a local commercial fisherman's catch in South Africa just looking for unique specimens. Well, one day, hidden right there among the slimy sea creatures, she spotted this 5-foot-long, bright blue fish with 4 fins that looked weirdly like arms. She rescued it just before it became someone's Christmas dinner. It turned out to be a coelacanth. This was a bizarre walking finned fish that the entire scientific community believed had gone extinct 65 million years ago along with the dinosaurs. No way, right? What's absolutely incredible is that this fish actually uses a paddling motion with its front and back legs to move around, which fundamentally links it to the very first vertebrates to ever crawl out of the water.
Moving on to Section 2, Sunken Secrets of the Deep. Human history preserved beneath the waves. You see, as we look closer at the ocean floor, we start to realize it isn't just hiding sea creatures. It's actually a massive museum of sunken human civilizations and ancient ingenuity. Case in point, an underwater sonar scan recently completely flipped our view of early North American hunters. Underwater archaeologist Dr. Mark Hawley was out looking for a shipwreck in Lake Michigan when he found this massive, mile-long, perfectly straight line of boulders ending in a circle. It kind of looked like a mini Stonehenge. But here's the catch. It wasn't a spiritual site at all. It was actually a 10,000-year-old hunting trap known as a driveline. Ancient hunters figured out that caribou instinctively follow linear formations, so they just built these walls leading right to a steep drop-off, seamlessly corralling the animals right into a trap where hunters were waiting and hiding. Talk about ancient engineering. Now, the Mediterranean Sea is holding its own secrets. In 2023, an energy company was scanning the seafloor for gas fields when the robotic vehicle spotted a weird mound sitting an entire mile below the surface. Believe it or not, it turned out to be a 3,300-year-old cargo ship packed with hundreds of ancient urns meant for oil, agricultural products, or wine. That makes it the absolute oldest shipwreck ever discovered in deep water. So why does this matter? Well, this accidental find totally proves that ancient mariners had the advanced technology to navigate the open ocean 55 miles from land, relying entirely on the sun and the stars. But not all underwater structures have such clean, easy explanations. Take the fierce debate over Japan's 80-foot Yonaguni monument. Back in 1986, a local diver was just out looking for hammerhead sharks when he stumbled upon this massive underwater stepped pyramid. It has these pristine, clean lines and flat right angles. To this day, experts are completely divided on what it actually is. Some folks say it's the sunken Pacific kingdom of Mu. Geologists argue it's just natural sandstone breaking off from centuries of tectonic earthquakes and tsunamis. And recently, there's even this wild, controversial theory suggesting it was built by cryptoterrestrials, basically intelligent non-human beings supposedly hiding right here on Earth. It really goes to show how one accidental discovery can split the scientific world wide open. We also see the tragic fragility of these deep water finds. Take the timeline of the Cosquer Cave. In 1985, a diver named Henri Cosquer swam through a super narrow, incredibly dangerous 200-foot underwater tunnel near Marseille and popped up into a dry cave covered in ancient art. But sadly, after a later dive claimed the lives of 3 under-equipped divers, the French Navy took over. They went in and found over 500 images, including mutilated handprints dating back 27,000 years. They acted as a sort of visual code or written language. But tragically, climate change is catching up fast. Rising sea levels have already washed away most of the original art, and scientists estimate the rest of it will be entirely destroyed in just about 14 years.
All right, Section 3, Unearthing Ancient Civilizations, digging up the Earth's greatest secrets. Let's move up from the ocean depths and get onto the solid ground under our feet, where everyday shovels and plows have accidentally unearthed ancient empires and, believe it or not, legendary curses. For instance, picture wading through a freezing Siberian river just looking for mammoth tusks. One hunter, getting pretty frustrated with his lack of luck, spotted a clump of fur sticking out of the ice. Thinking it was just a jawbone, he chipped away at it and revealed a massive, perfectly preserved, fully grown wolf head. The fur and tissue were so immaculate that scientists initially straight up refused to believe its age. But carbon dating confirmed it was an astonishing 40,000-year-old Pleistocene wolf. And get this, it was 16 inches long, way bigger and deadlier than even the legendary dire wolf. Just perfectly frozen in time, waiting for a guy to walk by. Now, an even larger scale of preservation was found over in China back in 1974. A severe drought hit this sleepy little village, so a farmer named Yang Jifa started digging a well. At about 15 feet down, his shovel struck a terracotta head. That single shovel strike eventually unveiled an entire 8,000-strong clay army, complete with bronze weapons and chariots, all guarding China's first emperor. But this incredible find actually triggered a devastating local curse. The government ended up evicting the entire village to build a museum. The very men who found the statues sank into desperate poverty, suffered mysterious ailments, and one even tragically took his own life. It left the locals feeling that by unearthing the statues, they had literally unleashed some dark ancestral wrath. And speaking of curses, take a look at this. A literal curse was written on a lead curse tablet found in 1805. A British family was excavating their garden when they stumbled into an ancient Celtic healing temple dedicated to the god Nodens. Inside, they found this tablet begging the god for divine vengeance over a stolen gold ring. The absolute craziest part? The specific ring mentioned in that curse had already been plowed up by a farmer in a totally different field 80 miles away 30 years earlier in 1785. What are the odds? So this is where ancient history meets modern pop culture. When the renowned archaeologist Sir Mortimer Wheeler finally connected that cursed tablet to the stolen gold ring, in 1928, he needed some help translating the ancient intricacies. So who does he consult? A brilliant Oxford language scholar. That scholar's name? J.R.R. Tolkien. Working intimately with this real-life story of a stolen, cursed gold ring that brought ill health to its possessor, accidentally provided the exact creative spark that inspired The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Literally the greatest fantasy story ever told, all sparked by a farmer's plow. Let's move to Section 4. Hidden Modern Warfare, Shadows of the 20th Century. Leaving antiquity behind, we're shifting gears to the secrets of World War II and the Cold War, secrets that were buried just out of sight. You see, ordinary people frequently stumbled into massive military secrets. Check out some of these declassified discoveries. For example, a forestry worker clearing trees in the English countryside accidentally pried open an iron door hidden in the brush. He actually found an abandoned underground chamber that turned out to be one of Winston Churchill's secret auxiliary unit bunkers. These were built for civilian farmers and miners to launch last-ditch suicide missions if the Nazis ever invaded. But as we look at other operations from this era, we start to see discoveries involving staggering amounts of money and high-stakes international espionage. Or consider Operation Rainbow. A diver for the World Wildlife Fund in Germany's Gilting Bay was literally just trying to retrieve a lost fishing net. He noticed his net was hooked on a barnacle-covered rock with white specks that kind of looked like typewriter keys. Well, when he hauled it up, it was definitely no typewriter. It was a Nazi M3 Enigma cipher machine. At the end of World War II, the Germans scuttled dozens of U-boats in the Pacific Bay to hide their secrets. Today, out of the 40,000 they made, fewer than 300 even survive.
That makes this totally accidental catch a historical artifact worth up to $500,000. But, during the Cold War, not every accident was truly accidental. Let's look at the Operation Gold Deception. In 1956 East Berlin, a team of workers was ordered to dig up a supposedly faulty phone cable in the pouring rain at 2 a.m. Instead, their shovels hit the roof of Operation Gold. This was a massive CIA spy tunnel tapping Soviet communications. The West completely panicked, thinking their secret was blown by pure chance. But the truth? It was a masterclass in deception. The Soviets actually knew about the tunnel for years thanks to their double agent, George Blake. To protect Blake's identity while scoring a massive public relations victory, Soviet Premier Khrushchev totally faked the faulty cable story. He sent those unsuspecting workers out there just to accidentally stumble upon the CIA's greatest asset. Finally, we reach Section 5, the sleeping supervolcano, a monster beneath our feet. We're looking at an accidental discovery that isn't really about human history, but the potential end of it. Back in 1965, NASA was just simply trying to map the Earth from space. To make sure their state-of-the-art satellite cameras were accurate, they used Yellowstone National Park as a baseline testing ground. Geologist Bob Christensen was tasked with comparing those space photos with ground samples. But as he analyzed the sheer volume of volcanic rock and the infrared satellite images, he accidentally realized something absolutely terrifying. Yellowstone wasn't just a chain of extinct, dormant volcanoes. No, the entire park was one massive, singular supervolcano. During its last major eruption 2 million years ago, it launched 600 cubic miles of lava into the air. We're talking an explosion 2,500 times bigger than Mount St. Helens, blocking out the sun and causing widespread famine. And the most alarming part of Christensen's accidental find, the lava chambers beneath the park aren't dead at all. They are rapidly filling today, capable of plunging the Earth into decades of widespread famine.
So, considering how many ancient ships, cursed rings, and literal supervolcanoes were found by pure chance, whether it was by a farmer digging a well, a diver looking for a lost net, or a space agency just calibrating a camera, it leaves us with one incredibly provocative thought to end on today. If a single shovel strike can completely rewrite the history books, what other world-changing secrets are still waiting in the dark to be accidentally found? As you walk through your local woods or swim at the beach, just remember that the ground beneath you and the water around you are still holding tight to history's greatest secrets. They are just waiting for the next accidental step to pull them into the light.